By the way, freaking take a shot every time I say the word curly girl in this video because it's gonna be 1,000. Hey guys, my name is Jerica Burnett and welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we are doing a Q&A slash talk through of my experience with my first ever curly girl haircut. And the reason I decided to do it is because when I was deciding whether or not I wanted to get a curly girl haircut and deciding whether or not it was worth it for me, I watched so many other people's Q&As or vlogs or experiences with it, and it really helped me decide. So I figured why not give you guys my opinion. I asked on my Instagram story for you guys to send me through a few questions, so I have them here on my phone, and let's get started. Okay, so the first question you guys asked me is, what is a curly girl haircut and how does it differ from a regular haircut? So I think the main difference is that in a curly girl cut, they'll cut your hair when it's dry, versus in a regular cut, you'll usually walk in and the first thing they do is take you over to the shampoo bowl and they'll wash your hair and then they'll cut it wet. The issue with that is if you have curly hair, it obviously will spring up once it dries and the hair might not sit in the same places. So if they cut it wet and they have no clue what it's gonna look like when it dries, there can be, you know, gaps in the curl patterns or different levels that obviously don't flatter your curls. Just issues like that. So that's why they cut it dry. And another main difference is they cut blunt. They don't ever scissor up. So I know sometimes you'll sit in a chair at a hair salon and they'll take your hair and they sort of trim it up like that. Well, for curly cuts, they cut straight across. And so when I sat in the chair, the girl asked me, like, what are you feeling? What do you want? Sort of thing. I said, I don't want anything shorter than my boob length, and I want a few pieces to sort of frame my face because I always have my hair flipped either one way or the other. And so she took my hair and just went straight across, and it all just fell to the floor, and I was a bit shocked because I'm used to it like being a like slow, gradual thing, you know? But yeah, I think those are the main differences. And then after the cut, they take you over to the shampoo bowl then, and they'll teach you how to shampoo your hair, how to condition your hair, what techniques you can use to hydrate it best, how to scrunch in gels and mousses and stuff like that. And then they'll put you back in the chair that you got your hair cut in, and they're gonna pin up little pieces of your roots to give you some more volume at the roots, and they put this big dome over your head where they dry your hair for about 10 minutes. I have a photo, so I'll insert it here. And then lastly, they take you over to a diffuser station and they lay your chair all the way back and they diffuse your hair. And then very last step of the whole process is you'll go back to the person that cut your hair and she's gonna do a little touch-up cut. So she had me flip my hair all the way forward and she trimmed the very edges and then both sides and just make sure that it was all even and all sitting where she wanted it to. The next question you guys ask is, where did you get it done and who cut your hair? So I got it done at a salon in Brisbane called Purely Curls, and I've been following them for like a year on Instagram because they are so amazing, so talented, and they can completely transform curly hair in like one day. And the person that cut my hair, her name was Haley, and she's actually American too. And the reason I chose Haley, because when you book, you can choose which hairstylist you want to cut your hair. I chose Haley because my friend said she was really good when she went there, so I chose her as well. She was American, and she was really personable, really friendly, very educated. You knew she knew what she was talking about as soon as she started talking. And we bonded over the fact that we both loved Halloween. So would recommend, if you ever go to Purely Curls, definitely get your hair cut by Haley. Did you get it colored? It looks awesome. Oh, thank you. I didn't get it colored this time around, but in my previous haircut, it wasn't a curly girl haircut, it was just a regular old haircut. I got a balayage, so I got lighter at the bottom and kept my roots natural. I think because I got it trimmed, you kind of can see this color a bit more clearly now, which is the blonde at the very end. But it's definitely grown out heaps. I think the balayage starts about here now. So no, I didn't get it colored, and they actually don't do color at Purely Curls on your first visit because they don't know how your hair will take to it. The next question you guys asked is, how much did it cost? At Purely Curls, it costed $170, and that's only because I was a brand new client there. So I think each time you go back, it's only $95 if you're a returning client and you come back within the next 8 months. Next question is, what type of hair do you have and what products do they recommend to you? Okay, so when I went in there, I asked her if I had 2B, 2C, or 3A curls because I felt like my hair could kind of fit into any one of those categories. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll put a table up on the screen that sort of explains different types of curls. But she told me that they actually don't use that grading scale at Purely Curls because it sort of makes it feel like one curl type is better than another curl type, and she doesn't really appreciate that. So she just said that I have mostly wavy hair and some of the pieces are curly. What products did they recommend? So I have really fine hair, and all the products that they recommended were tailored for people with fine hair, so they're really lightweight and they weren't gonna weigh down my hair. So they're all by the brand Innersense, and they actually gave me this goodie bag, which I thought was really thoughtful of them. Inside of it, it has a few sample products. They gave me a sort of like a chopstick to sort of lift your roots. They also gave me a few curl clips to clip up your roots and a Curlscription, which just has all of the products that they use on the day. And then they also gave me this like application cheat sheet, which is just like a little reminder of everything that they did on the day. And it has glue tack on it because I actually hung it outside of my shower door so that I could remember it while I was in the shower, because it's a lot to remember. But the products they actually recommended were all from the brand Innersense. And the cleanser or shampoo was called Pure Harmony Hair Bath. The conditioner was called Pure Inspiration Daily Conditioner. The sealer, which is basically just a gel, is called I Create Volume. And the second sealer, which is kind of like a mousse, was called I Create Lift Volumizing Foam. So if you have fine hair like me, it may be worth looking into those products. Will you be purchasing any of their products or changing anything about your curly girl routine? So I haven't purchased their products yet, because they taught me so many different techniques on the day of how to add hydration to your hair and how to style it. So I wanted to master the techniques first, and I wanted to come home and try them out on my products that I already own at home, because I wasn't gonna spend so much money on the products that they have in the salon and still not have mastered the techniques, because I feel like that's a waste of money and also a waste of products, since I already have like full bottles of shampoo and conditioner. I'm gonna use up those first, and then depending on how my hair looks after I've used up the stuff I already have, I might purchase the Innersense products that they've recommended. What was the other half of the question? Will you be changing anything about your curly girl routine? Okay. The main thing that I really want to change is diffusing, because I feel like it just speeds up the process so much. I never have ever diffused in my life besides the time that I got my hair cut. So I actually purchased a diffuser today and I tried it out, and I feel like I did not get the same results that they got at the salon, but I just think you have to master the technique. You just have to keep doing it over and over again, and I feel like practice makes perfect with it. I also bought some phone cord hair ties, which when she said phone cord hair ties and I was sitting in the salon, I thought she said foam cord hair ties, and I was like, what's that? And she was like, oh, you're so young, because she thought I didn't know what a phone cord was, which I most definitely do know what a phone cord is. I bought some of those because apparently they're good to sleep in, and I also will probably buy a silk or a satin pillowcase to tone down friction when you're sleeping. Did you have any concerns going into it? I actually had a few concerns. Because my hair my whole life has been really straight at the top and then it curls at the ends, I thought like if they're gonna cut off the ends, it was just gonna be even more straight. But she actually taught me that like pinching and pinning up your roots is what gives you like volume and curl higher up in your hair. And also when you diffuse, you go straight up to the roots and hold it for, 8 to 10 seconds depending on how quick your hair dries. She taught me lots of little things that sort of took my concerns away. And I also was scared that they were gonna push their products onto me because I'm such a sucker and I can't say no. But they're actually really good. Like they only asked me once, did you wanna purchase any products? And I just said, no, I might purchase off of their website. How long before this did you get it cut last time, and how much did they take off? It looks so good. Thank you. So before this, it had been over a year. I think I got it cut in April of 2019. I know, don't judge me. You're supposed to get your hair cut like every 8 weeks or whatever. But listen, I have no maintenance at all. So it had been April of 2019, and it was not a curly girl haircut. It was just a regular old haircut. That's when I got the balayage done. And how much did they take off? Okay, it was probably down to like almost my butt. So I don't know how much that is. Probably like, that was not accurate at all. I'll put some before and after photos up on the screen so you can get a more accurate like depiction of how much they took off. Okay, what is the most surprising thing you learned? Ooh, that's a bit of a tricky question. I feel like I learned so much on the day. Like they just bombarded me with information, which is good. Like I wanted to learn so much that I can't really pick out like one most surprising thing that I learned. But I think maybe it's the technique that they use. So they did this technique where you take a single piece of hair when it's like soaking wet, and it's called like a milking technique, I think they called it, and you like run your hands over it really fast like this when it's wet with water and conditioner, and it sort of seals off your each individual like hair strand so that it's less frizzy. I tried it today and obviously like I haven't mastered it yet, but I think that's probably like one of the most surprising things I learned. I also learned that you can dry off your hair using a baby wrap, like you know the muslin ones. You can scrunch that into your hair instead of a towel because it creates less frizz. What else did I learn? Oh, you know what? One of the most surprising things I learned is that when your hair is wet, you're not supposed to touch your hair with dry hands. So I have been doing that wrong this whole time. You're actually supposed to just like touch it with, that's why they give you this chopstick. Because when your hair is wet, you're supposed to like lift at the roots instead of touching it with your hands, unless your hands are wet as well. This last question says, was it worth the money, and overall, would you recommend it? So I feel like for me personally, it was worth the money because my hair was so long in the before photo and it was just really ratty and wispy. And I feel like when you ran my fingers through my hair, it just kind of felt like hay. So I feel like getting it cut off made it so much more healthy, and it definitely brought back the bounce and the shine that my hair used to have. This is probably the healthiest that my hair has been since I lived in the US, which was like 6 or 7 years ago, which is crazy. So yeah, for me personally, it was worth the money. If you're interested in a curly girl haircut, I would definitely recommend it, but I would suggest that you know, do the research and make sure the salon is reputable, make sure that they know how to take care of curly hair, and that they have before and after photos, because I feel like before and after photos are so important. It is quite an expensive thing, you know, haircuts don't usually cost that much money, but when you have curly hair, it's sort of an investment into your hair, and you learn so much that it's sort of worth it. So I hope that answered your questions. Thank you guys so much for submitting those questions, and if you have any other questions, how many times can I say the word questions, leave them down in the comments below. But yeah, that's the end of this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, enjoy the adventure. Bye. Yeah, I have. I don't know if it... Mulligan!
What are you doing?
He knocked it. Careful, Mulligan. Mully. Hot. Hot. If you guys can hear noises in the background, it's my cat being an absolute asshole. Then just did a pretty blunt crust, why is that so hard for me to freaking say?